Hello, and welcome to our Channel 16 election special. I'm Crystal Hebert. Today I'm here with Mr. Theriault. He's running for State Senate District 1. Today we're going to talk a little bit about his election and a little bit about himself. So welcome, Mr. Theriault.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad to be here this morning, Crystal.
Awesome. Okay, so why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, like your education, some life experience, backgrounds, things in that nature.
Well, I guess I can start by saying that I am a St. John Valley resident, born in the St. John Valley. As most people at my age, so-called, I was born and raised on a potato farm, and my education went to Wallagrass Elementary School and on to Fort Kent, and then to some further education at University of Maine at Fort Kent. I spent 40 years in the paper industry, and very proud of that fact, and just want to be able to say that when things get tough, the tough get going, and so that's why I'm here this morning.
Awesome. What made you interested in politics?
Well, my interest in politics basically goes to the situation where when you look at the representation and the number of people that are, say, in the House of Representatives, there's 151 people. And I just wanted to make sure that the middle class working individual, such as myself, was represented. And so I put my name in the hat, and I did get elected. So that was one of the reasons why I ran for office.
Okay. What are some of the important issues running with your campaign?
Well, there's always the important issue, which is very, very close to everyone, which are jobs. And that's a tough one. And if you look at what's happening in the paper industry, which by all rights is one of the specialty for this state, because there's like 90% of our state is covered by forest land. So basically, as we go along, we can see there is some struggling going in that industry, starting with Lincoln Pulp and Paper, and then down to Old Town. And in Old Town, that was a different situation there because they were working on biofuel. And this would be fuel that would be brought out of the wood through distilling process. And that would be used for on machinery, on cars and so forth. That has now kind of like taken a dip, and University of Maine was working with them on this issue, which was very, how would I say, a very special issue. Mm-hmm. And the latest one that we've received word on was the Verso paper industry, the paper mill in Bucksport. And what has happened there is, in my estimation of what I can find, one of the problems may have been through antitrust because of the size of the new Page mill that would be taking over the Verso paper. And by all means, I just hope that there's a way that we can get that mill bought by someone. There's 500 jobs there, and families are affected. And whenever we hear of something like this, it really hits home because we're in that industry here in this town, and so far, so good.
Definitely, yeah.
Yes.
Is there any other issues in your campaign?
Well, there's always the issue of funding for education, which in the years that I've been there, I've come to realize that the early years in education, those young minds are very, very much at center in my estimation, because that's where they get started, and hopefully they do the right thing. What happens with education today, as we all know, it's a must. There's no way around it. Mm-hmm. I have issues that I have been working on with seniors. Our senior population today, because of some of the cuts that are happening, are really much in a hurting process. I've worked with the area agency on aging, and one of the things that the speaker that we presently have, Mark Eves, is working very hard to keep seniors in their homes rather than send them out to a boarding place. Some of the differences in that is the cost for maintaining and going to visit a senior person in their home could be something like $600 to $800 a month versus the start of a boarding home at $4,500 to maybe $9,000.
Yeah.
So if you know, you don't have to be a real math whiz to be able to figure that one out. But one of the problems that happens there is those people are getting minimum wage and they are not even getting the mileage. And I see what's happening there is that at some point that person who's helping that senior gets to the point where they get very close to them, and at some point are spending some of their own money to be able to keep that person in that home. And so that's one that's very close. I'm very much cognizant of issues with our veterans and will continue to do so. I am also very much in favor of looking at bringing in that Medicare main care buy-in for the 70,000 people that are working at below poverty or at the minimum wage. The federal government would be willing to pay that for 3 years, and therefore it would also cover 3,000 of our veterans who have come out of the service who may be able to go to and further their education. This is one of the things that we did last session is we would take some people from both sides of the aisle, independent, Republican, Democrat, and they went out to communities to find out where the needs were. And getting special training through community colleges is a very big issue, and I'm very supportive of that.
Definitely, that's awesome.
Thank you.
I know you answered a little bit of my question about paper mills, but we are a paper mill town. What's your opinion on paper mill industry in our economy?
Well, the paper mill industry is, as we look at it, and the biggest, where the most paper is being produced now is in China.
Wow.
It is China. We are second to China. And so therefore, there are two paper machines, that are being built in the state of Maine, and they're being built down in Baileyville, and they are owned by a Chinese corporation. What is happening here in many instances, we're seeing they're close to Eastport, so therefore they can load some of that paper on their boats and ships and take it to China, or vice versa. Come back. As a matter of fact, they were even at one point being able to take lumber on the ship and have a sawmill on the ship, cut the wood, and when they got to China, it was ready to pass on 2x4s or whatever. And so, yes, our paper industry, we are one of the better. We are one of the better states. We are the best state so far in producing of paper, but China is still ahead of us, and there are probably certain reasons why. I think that maybe their DEP rules are a little bit different than ours, and so therefore it's going to catch up to them, and so maybe that will balance out at some point. One of the things that I was privy to be into was the new state-of-the-art mill in Nashville Plantation, which is next to Ashland and between Ashland and Portage, that was opened by the Irving Corporation, and that is going to be something else. And again, that's one of the things that we want. We have people that are working in the forest industry, they're cutting the lumber, but we're taking it elsewhere to be finished. Now we have a better chance at doing that, and hopefully there's one of our other mills in that area that was bought out by a Canadian corporation, but they're willing to put money into it. Jobs for our people, that's basically what we want. I chair transportation presently in the Maine State Legislature, and I'm proud of that fact because of 151 people that are there, they picked the guy from Madawaska. And because of where I'm from, we don't maybe have the best roads in the area, but when we are people who say something, we mean what we say, and our word is good, and that's what counts in many instances.
Mm-hmm, definitely,
Thank
yeah. Also, you kind of answered my question with education.
Yes.
But what's your feel about public schools versus they're kind of starting a virtual school type thing, and as well as like colleges, tuition,
Well, I'm glad you asked me that question. I have been one that has stood on the side of public schools. And basically the reason for it is that it gives an opportunity to everyone. Now, part of what the plan has been is that the charter school, whoever decides to go to a charter school, the funding will follow that child. Charter schools, in my estimation, are more of a business versus providing a service. And so therefore, the charter schools, the business plan, or wherever it comes, wherever it originates from, is in London, England. This is not even in the United States of America. And so basically what we're doing is we're sending money to those people. The other thing that bothers me a little bit about that is this area here, a charter school will be hard to function. And are the rules the same for charter schools as they are for public schools? No, they're not. The virtual school, I would support the virtual school because I'm seeing our numbers going down in students. I would support it in the way that it would be operated through the school administration. If it's a school administration, SAD district, or whatever it is, it should be worked through that area, because there's got to be some responsibility in the area. So therefore, if there's no, if things are not set up right, it would not be good. But one of the things that it could do is that if you're having to take a course and it's not offered here, then you would be able to take it through that school, but operated by your school or the state of Maine, period. That's my point. That's my position.
Is there anything else that you'd like to add?
Well, one of the things that I'd like to add basically is that I have been the state representative for District 2 now, and all those towns a lot of them are here in the St. John Valley and surrounding community. I've been there for 8 years. I've enjoyed it. I've made some really good friends. One of the things with me is that I am from the St. John Valley. I'm an Aroostook County person. I like to say that I'm from the top of Maine, and I don't take a back seat to anyone. I don't ride in the back seat just because I'm from that area, because I think I should ride in the front seat just as well as anybody else. And the thing is that I am a veteran, which maybe others are not, and basically I'm very tuned into veterans issues and seniors and education.
Definitely. Awesome. Well, Channel 16 would like to thank you for taking the time to come here today. Good luck in your election. I'm Crystal Hebert, signing out.
And I would just like to say thank you to Channel 16, because you guys have always done a great job for me, and I appreciate everything you do. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.